allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, honorable city council members, Mayor Burcroft, to our city attorney, chief of staff, and our deputy clerk and audience. Welcome to the City of Ramos City Council regular meeting, and today's date is Monday, September 13th, 2021. Members of the public wishing to participate in this meeting may do so under the public comment portion of the agenda. Please fill out a request to speak public comment card, which is located on the table in the back of the chambers, and hand it to the deputy clerk. Additionally, members of the public who are viewing tonight's meeting via our broadcast channel or YouTube Live can submit their comments to publiccomment@romulusgov.com. And at this time, we will have a roll call. And Mr. Chair, we had a call from Councilman Wadsworth, and he won't be in attendance tonight. His wife had surgery this morning, so we want to wish her a speedy recovery.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Roll call is as follows. Number one, Councilwoman Abdo.
Here.
Councilman Barton.
Here.
Councilwoman Roscoe.
Here.
Councilwoman Talley.
Here.
Councilwoman Webb.
Here.
And Councilwoman Williams.
Present.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you.
Tonight's meeting is as follows. Number one, agenda. Number two, minutes. Number three, petitioner. Number four, chairperson's report. 5, mayor's report. 6, clerk's report. 7, treasurer's report. 8, public comment. 9, unfinished business. 10, new business. 11, warrant. 12, communication. And number 13, adjournment. And a motion would be in order to accept the regular council meeting agenda as presented.
So moved to accept that agenda as presented.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Talley, supported by Ms. Abdo, for approval of agenda as presented. Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Number two, minutes. For approval are the minutes from the regular council meeting that was held on September 7th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m.
So moved for approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting held September 7th, 2021.
Support.
Been motioned by Ms. Abdo, supported by Ms. Talley, for approval of the minutes from our regular meeting, which was held on Monday, September 7th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, and motion is approved.
Number three is petitioner. Mr. Chair and Council, we have two petitioners on the agenda this evening. Our first petitioner is David Jones, and he's here to request a no-fee permit to hold the Americanism Day Parade event and also request a road closure. If Mr. Jones is here, approach the podium, please.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, Clerk, I'm here representing St. John's Lodge, our Grand Lodge, both Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Michigan. When we celebrate our Americanism Day, September the 19th, and we have a parade every year. In the past, we have done the St. John's Day out here in Romulus, but this year, they want us to do Americanism Day. And Romulus was chosen to be the city that we do it in. And we start our march at 4th Street, at your bike path by Boys Park, right by Community Baptist Church. And we march south on 4th Street to Beverly Road West, on Beverly to Washington, south on Washington to Vinewood over to Pentecostal Baptist Church, where we have a program at 3 o'clock. We will be stepping off about 2:30. We're looking for a couple hundred guys to be there, maybe 3 or 4, maybe 3 or 4. And it shouldn't take too long. So we're asking for the support of the police for a road closure to assist us in this here. We're remarking, of course, I will be remarking this year.
Need a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair, for a no permit fee to hold the Americanism Day Parade event and road closure request as requested by Mr. Jones.
Support.
Been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Talley, for no fee permit to be hold Americanism Day Parade event and road closure requests. If there's any discussion, roll call vote.
I just have one thing to say.
Go ahead,
Chair,
Ms. Webb.
this is on the 19th, correct?
Yes,
That's on Saturday,
that's the Sunday.
Sunday? Okay, and it starts at 2:30?
The step-off time is at 2. Right, and the program we have is usually at 3 o'clock.
Okay. I hope I can get away from Unity Day. I don't know for sure, but I'll try to get there. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Thank you.
Our second petitioner, which is listed on tonight's agenda. We have several guests here this evening that will be presenting, and what you'll have before you will asking after the presentations for council to take action on two requests here. The first one is a requested zoning map amendment associated with conditional rezoning and development agreement and development plan for RZ 2020-002 for North Point Romulus Trade Center to conditionally rezone 171.60 acres of property, including parcel ID numbers 80-039-99-001-706, 80-039-99-001-707, 80-039-99-001-708, 80-040-99-0002-713, and 80-040-99-0002-714 from RC Regional Center to M1 Light Industrial. That will be the first motion action request. And the second request, this is to approve a special land use, 2020-003, North Point-Ramos Trade Center to construct 7-9 light industrial and distribution buildings greater than 80,000 square feet, I believe that is, in size in the Ramos Trade Center, subject to a revised conditional rezoning and development agreement and development plan per the comments of the Planning Commission, city staff, and consultants, and any additional items as determined by City Council. And so our first guest to present this evening will be from Brad Strader. He is a planning consultant from MKSK, and he will start off with the PowerPoint presentation.
Thank you, Ellen. Good evening, council members. I guess I'll be kicking this off here and working off a presentation and give you a little bit of background. I know the council is very familiar with this site and background, but more for the audience, a quick run through some of the past history and just a reminder, and then I'll be turning it off to Richard and Jessica to hit some other highlights, and then we'll hear from the applicant, and then we'll be happy to answer any questions you have or anybody else. So again, thank you. So again, Brad Strader, just next slide. Just a quick run view, more for the audience. So the area that we're talking about is north of 94 at the Vining Road interchange. And I think when I very first started working with Romulus years ago, the interchange was just like a dream. And getting the interchange built with the idea of this become a major commercial hub for the area. There's been a lot of plans over the years for Metro World and horse race tracks and casinos and ball fields. Some were very precise Some were an outlet mall. A lot of things have been talked about with the Planning Commission Council with staff. Some moved forward to approval, but then because of market reasons and other things, things didn't happen. So the council approved Amazon and some warehousing in the area north toward Ecorse Road to sort of get things started. And for the last probably 3 or 4 years, the city staff and council and planning commission have looked at different ideas for this area. So this is the overlay kind of shown in this drawing on the purple and the red, pretty much north and or east and west of Vining Road from I-94 all the way up to Ecorse. So a little bit west of Middle Belt or Merriman, and you can see Wick Road there runs over to Wayne Road. So a lot of plans for mixed-use residential, commercial, industrial, offices, open space, and so forth. So a lot of discussion over the years. Next. So recognizing, based on a market study that the city initiated, that we might have to expand the list of uses that are allowed, we really wanted to focus on the design of the buildings and landscaping and so forth, and make sure there was more of a campus-like appearance and higher standards here than anywhere else in Romulus. The idea if the uses are going to be opened up, we want to really raise the standards. So this is just an overview of things the council already approved. We have setting expectations for high-quality architecture, more landscaping and bigger landscaping than required elsewhere in the city. Pathways, so we heard from some of the resident surveys, people really wanted to see something they could benefit, and they wanted to see open space and pathways, so those were requirements within this area. And then traffic, and especially truck traffic, has been something that's of concern to the Planning Commission Council and the residents. So in this overlay district, there was additional requirements for a traffic impact study. So instead of just a traffic impact study, they'd also have to do research on the types of trucks and where the trucks are going to be going. So that was part of the overlay district. Next. So this is, again, a list of the things in the overlay. And so the first thing the council did was to extend the list of uses allowed to allow some light industrial. But distribution wasn't one of the uses that was going to be allowed. And council about 1.5 years ago talked about changing the uses to allow distribution, and council felt at that time we didn't really need distribution uses. Let's see what other uses comes in, and if somebody wants to use distribution, they need to do more than just meeting the Vining Road overlay district. They need to provide some other benefit to the city and the residents of the city. So that's what we've been working on for about 1.5 years. North Point came in with several different proposals that we felt did not either meet the requirements of the Vining Road overlay or didn't meet the requirements that the council had outlined. And so we have, most of us in the room here have spent 1.5 years working with North Point and continuously telling them this is not going to be something the council will approve. We need to go back and come up with a more outstanding proposal. And we think the proposal that they presented now is meeting that, and I'll cover that briefly, and hopefully you'll feel the same way. Next. So this is the conditional rezoning. So again, the overlay standards would apply, but why are they doing a conditional rezoning? It's because distribution uses are not allowed in the current zoning district. So the main thing that they're doing here is to put in a conditional rezoning to M1 to allow distribution uses. The other uses in RC are allowed. All the other standards are being met, and several of the council members told me 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, don't come back with something that needs a lot of variances on the overlay. And again, a lot of the ideas they had when they've come over the last 1.5 years needed some variances. And I said, if you need a variance, you're not going to get approval of council. So they've now come in with a variance-free plan that meets all the overlay. Again, something that a number of you pointed out to Bob and I when we met with you. So it's a conditional rezoning to allow distribution uses. They also would get a special land use, a blanket special land use, because any building over 80,000 square feet has to come back for a special land use. And I think the Planning Commission and we felt they don't need to come back with each building because you're seeing everything all together as a package. And so it's not uncommon for you to grant that special land use if you see the package all together. And another important thing to council is also very important to the Planning Commission, and probably one of the main reasons why the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval, because they've had all the same angst with this site, and even more, many more meetings even than you, meeting with the applicant, meeting with us, studying the zoning ordinance and the master plan. And so the area along Wick Road is now tied to the RC, M1 conditional overlay. And so you'll see the presentation from the applicant in more detail, how each phase of the distribution is tied to a certain percentage of the commercial that would be built. And that was very important, I think, to the Planning Commission and the Council. So again, just summarize, why is it an M1 conditional rezoning? It's to be able to get the distribution uses that are currently allowed, but they are meeting the overlay standards and all the other standards that you have in your master plan and zoning except for that. Next. But there was a little bit of a concern we had, because if you go with a conditional M1 zoning, there's some uses in there that we think are not appropriate, and for some of the same reasons that council brought up. The impact on residential areas, the impact on other uses that are in the Vining Road overlay area and would be not compatible with other RC uses and other uses and potential residential uses. And so you can see on the right of the slide here, certain M1 uses that are allowed in other parts of the city under M1 are excluded. So vehicle and truck repair, tool and die, certain paint booths that would generate odors and fumes that would be not compatible with RC uses and residential uses, mini storage warehousing and more trucking uses that would generate more trucks and not much tax base. So those uses are part of the M1 conditional rezoning. So a reminder of a M1 conditional rezoning was they would meet certain standards that are listed in the development agreement that Richard will talk about. One of the agreements is that these uses will not be allowed. They'll meet the Vining Road overlay standards. They're going to have a more detailed traffic study and talk about how traffic impacts are going to be absorbed. They're going to meet or exceed all the Vining Road standards, and they've listed those. The views of the truck doors, the landscape, the berming is taller than even we required in the overlay district and so forth. So the development agreement contractually describes what they will be meeting. And there was one minor thing between the North Point attorneys and the city attorney that they worked out, and Richard will talk about that. So we believe that the conditional rezoning agreement meets all the things the council had brought up. Next. So key items requested by council that you'll hear again from North Point or the rest of us, but I wanted to focus on this. One is, again, tying in this the distribution uses to commercial. So you'll see in their presentation, the first use will be right at the northeast corner of Vining Road and Wick Road, where they'll do Royal Farms. I think the Planning Commission was excited about Royal Farms. You'll see that presentation coming from North Point in a little bit. And so that rezoning will be part of the Phase 1 distribution. When they come back in with their Phase 2 distribution, then they'll have to do the second phase of commercial. So there'll be, and as you move on down the line with more distribution uses, you'll have more and more commercial on Wick Road. Another key thing that the council brought up was dealing with trucks. So they have a separate truck study done, but we're always concerned about the trucks that you brought up. How are the trucks going to go up and use E-Course Road? And so how can we keep the trucks to just use Vining Road and the Vining Road interchange? And they came up with what we thought was an innovative solution where they're going to, and they'll talk about it in their presentation, but they will have a direct left out onto Vining Road that kind of forces the trucks to go into and out of the site and then down to the Vining Road interchange. So there's very little potential for vehicles to go north on Vining Road and go up E-Course, and very little potential to go on Wick Road to the west or to the east. It's really focused on I-94, and they're also adding traffic signals to make it much easier for trucks to go down to the 94 interchange rather than go on other routes within the city. They also have monitoring, so they will be the owner of this. They won't just be leasing it out, and they'll be monitoring and working with the city to monitor where those trucks are. So some of the things the council brought up with some of the uses I think we've learned, and so there's monitoring that they'll be doing to make sure that they're meeting the expectations to have the trucks go to and from the Vining Road interchange and not going on other city streets. I think I've already mentioned it a couple times, but they are either exceeding or meeting the intents of the Vining Road overlay for landscaping and architecture and lighting and sidewalks. The minimum is 10% open space, and they're over the 10% open space, and there'll be amenities in the open space and so forth. You'll see that as part of their presentation. One thing probably more important to some of the planning commission, perhaps, than council, was the eastern woodlot. If you look at the right of the drawing here, and so they're preserving that whole eastern woodlot. Some of it's wetland anyway, but it also provides a really nice buffer to keep that eastern woodlot open, so the hotels and other uses that are on Merriman are better screened from this distribution area. So that's another big change from some of the plans we saw over the last year and a half or 2 years. Another thing that we brought up to council, again, you'll hear it from the applicant this evening, was we need some benefits. So this is really making the site more appealing and compatible with the RC uses and other uses in the area in the future. But we needed to know what other benefits are going to be provided to the residents of Romulus, and they'll talk about that. They're going to have a recruiting program for employees for Romulus residents. And also, they've done a fiscal impact analysis that we requested, and it was actually in the overlay ordinance amendments that you did approve, that shows the benefit to the city, but includes, I think it's $38 million for the school district. So even though this area is in the Tifa district, the Tifa doesn't take money away from the school. So when this development happens, and this is just for the distribution, that money will go to Romulus School. So that's what we think is another benefit out of this project. So that's kind of an overview of the background and how we got to where we are. I'm going to turn it over to Richard, who's going to go through briefly the development agreement, especially the minor changes that were made today, and any questions you have on the development agreement. Unless you have any questions for me right now.
Good evening, Council. I'm Richard Stoken from the Kerr Russell firm. My partner, Jim Tam, was working with the city, working with the applicants on this development all the way through. And as you see, the conditional rezoning agreement, it's been tweaked all over multiple times. Concerns from the council, concerns from the city, and the applicant has been very helpful in working with us and coming to agreeable language. The original packet, we had one change since then, and I believe you received the updated. I just wanted to point it out. We worked with the applicant, and we were adding for the penalty provision, because there's this penalty provision for the applicant, because we want them to develop the site, and we want to have conditions so that they meet those standards and meet those development phases. And one of the language that we added is we added language to protect the city to recover any costs, attorney's fees or costs, or any fees or costs that comes with, would be associated with collecting that penalty provision. Now, we all hope that we don't have to invoke that, but the developer was agreeable to add that into the agreement, so we've added that in there. And I don't believe there were any other changes. You have all the other changes. The agreement states what their proposal is, and it has all of the conditions with Mr. Strader mentioned, and I believe the developer will mention in their proposal. Our recommendation is that if there are any other changes, that we make sure it's included in the resolution tonight, so that it can be placed in the actual agreement. But I don't believe there should be any changes unless council has any concerns. Maybe my presentation's a little early or premature, but I can certainly answer any questions if you have now or later after the presentation if you have any.
No questions?
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Jessica Caters with OHM, and as well as with Brad and Richard, I've worked with the city staff on reviewing the infrastructure that's available for this development on behalf of the city. I just wanted to give a brief overview of our review summary for the traffic impact study. The applicant will go into greater detail, but in regards to the traffic mitigation that is proposed in the impact study, we're in agreement with the magnitude of the proposed mitigation. There are multiple intersections that will be signalized as part of this development. There'll be improvements to the drive approaches along Smith, Vining, and Wick Roads. And the details in regards to those improvements are going to be reviewed and finalized or clarified during the site plan process, which is something that would get started after the conditional rezoning agreement is taking place or is agreed upon. So the opportunity to refine and finalize those improvements is still with us, and it will be part of the reviews as we move forward. And again, as Brad and Richard had stated, I can answer any questions, but at this time, I believe we will key up the video. I'm going to introduce John Sweeney.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of council, mayor, staff, and residents. Thank you very much for having us tonight. My name is Johnny Sweeney, and I'm the Economic Development Manager for North Point Development. I would just say very briefly that I'm very excited to have the opportunity to present to you tonight. We wanted to start with a brief video from Brent Miles from our team, and then I'll take it from there. So if we can go ahead and cue that up. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brent Miles. I'm one of the owners and founders of North Point Development, based in Kansas City. I apologize I can't be with you in person tonight. I had a prior commitment, so thank you for letting me join you via video. First of all, thank you for having us tonight. This has been a long journey. We've both worked as a team over the last several months to get to tonight. But I'd be remiss to say that we did not start off in the best manner. We didn't listen. We spent years with you and your team presenting a plan that wasn't something that the community supported or wanted. Over the last 6 months, we refreshed our entire team, from our traffic engineers to our attorneys, to our staff from North Point working on this project. We came to the community and we listened. I'm proud to be in front of you tonight to say that I think that we have a better plan. Actually, I think we have the best plan. This is a plan that's been vetted by your planning commission, by members of your community. This is a plan that invests hundreds of millions of dollars into your community. It's a plan that has smart infrastructure. This is a plan that just isn't focused on industrial development, but also focuses on the retail commercial piece that I know the community has really been longing for. I'm proud of us, I'm proud of our team, but most of all, I'm proud of you. We came to you and we said, we're sorry. And you allowed us to be forgiven. That takes a big person, that takes a big board, and thank you for doing that. So let's get to the plan. This plan is the best plan that I've seen us as a development firm put together for a community in a very long time. It's a plan that's had community input. It's a plan that takes into the community things like job creation, commercial retail development, infrastructure. But it also does something that is very unique. It holds us accountable. This is a plan that has an agreement attached to it that requires a very stiff penalty if we don't do what we say we're going to do. Now, we have every intention of doing that, but we like the model of trust but verify from the community, and that's what we've done here. This is a plan that has been reviewed by staff. I'm pleased to say that we had a 9-0 planning commission vote. That makes me very happy, puts a smile on my face. And the feedback that we got from the planning commission was extremely positive. We've thought through landscaping. We thought through traffic. We thought through job creation. We thought through retail commercial amenities. We thought through environmental design. We've thought through setbacks and how we connect and where we don't connect. So tonight, My team is going to present to you what I think is a really great plan, a plan that incorporates all the things that we heard, addresses all the challenges we heard, and hopefully, by the end of the night, we've presented something that you can be proud of as a community. I can't thank you again for allowing us to have the opportunity to be before you tonight. I will see you in person on the 27th. And again, thank you for having me via video. And with that, I'm going to have my team present why we think we've got the best plan to present to you tonight. So thank you.
Thank you for helping have that ready. I can control it from here, is that right? So good evening again. My name is Johnny Sweeney, and I'm representing our team who is here in the audience tonight. And what I want to do to start is actually rewind. So Brent mentioned, 6 months ago, going further back, as Brad mentioned, and Brad, I appreciate your comments. It's been a long road. And what I want to do is just mention, I looked today, how close was Brent to being right with 6 months? So 188 days ago, Brent had the opportunity to sit down with some of you and to hear very candid feedback. And his job, obviously, was to listen, but he did, and he came back to us, to all of North Point, and frankly was embarrassed and also had to change things right away. And so everything that he said there was absolutely true. So what you're looking at is a new team here, and his message to us was listen to everything they say. Make the changes. I don't care if we've never done this before, figure it out. It was very straightforward. And so what I'm really excited to present to you tonight is the big things. There is something we've never done that we're going to present to you tonight, and the little things, the things that the team has helped describe to you here. So I just wanted to start with this slide here. This is eForce Commons, and the most important takeaways here are, this is an example of North Point being a partner with Romulus. We have done this before. You all have been great and helped us see that success. And then at the same time, as mentioned, we are in this for the long haul. You're not looking at someone that, hey, we're gone in 6 months and you're not sure who to turn to. You're looking at the same people that if there's one thing that doesn't go right, we're going to fix it. That's our commitment to you. This agreement does not allow any wiggle room, as we'll get into, but I think this is a perfect way to start of, we've done this with you, and this next project that we're about to go through, to me, is just really exciting for what the community can have. And I did want to mention, if you have any questions in the middle, interrupt me, raise your hand, whatever you want to do. So this is a slide of, project overview. And so we'll get into more detail with this, but in studying what the city wanted and what we've heard from you all, and also understanding what this has the opportunity to produce, what you're looking at here is the potential for more than 1,000 jobs right here in your own community. And these have the opportunity to be very high-paying and good long-term jobs, both on the construction side and in permanent job creation. One of the items I wanted to point out here is the $56 million in real property taxes generated over the life of this, and so we take a window and we project forward. I would just compliment your assessor. So Julie has been great to work with, and we did those projections before we got a valuation notice for our eCourse project, and frankly, I think this is a conservative estimate, and it also doesn't include the potential for the retail component, which is very important to you, to add on top of that. So we would prefer to err on the conservative side, but I believe there's upside in that number there. And then jumping to the bottom here, I think one of the most important things that we heard over and over, and we've done our best to present this to you, is we need infrastructure that supports and makes retail development ready-made. This can't be some dream in the future. It can't be a pretty picture. You all have heard, and as Brad pointed out over time, that there's grand plans, there's things that might happen, all these things, and I'm here to tell you tonight that we're spending over $2 million as we get started right away to set it up for success. This is not phase 2, this is not in 5 years, this is day 1. So I think that's really important here. So this slide, I'm gonna go through a few things here, and I'll get into more detail in this first bullet point here, but we have been very fortunate, and I will go through the story in a moment, but to bring the first retail tenant to you tonight for your consideration. And this would be not only their first store in Michigan, but their first store outside of the East Coast. There's a unique story to that, which I'll go through, but I think for Romulus to get a first-class offering like that here at this location would be a tremendous win. We also, at other locations and in development experience, know that sometimes the first olive out of the bottle inspires additional development. And we know what you want. We've heard loud and clear. It's retail, it's community benefit, it's things that serve our citizens. So with that, we believe if given the opportunity, this first piece of the retail component will inspire more. As mentioned earlier, dedicating things to the residents of Romulus is very important. Great that there's 1,000 jobs and maybe more than that, but how is Romulus and how are our citizens going to benefit? So we've got a couple things here. The first is a job fair dedicated to those citizens. And then the second component is a 2-week look ahead. So what that means is that for any tenant coming to this park, the citizens of Romulus get the first shot at that. They have a 2-week window before anyone else can apply to seize those opportunities. We've done this other places, and we're committed to implementing it here. One of the things we heard about this area here is that sidewalks often don't touch, and there's, as Brad mentioned, that Brad mentioned was connectivity of sidewalks. And so as part of phase 1, the entire sidewalk network is going to go in. And in addition to that, on the eastern portion of the site is the trail system in that green space. Again, that's a day 1 investment. That's not down the line. This entire park will be connected. I want to call out just 2 more things here. The $38 million to the school district, same story as the $56 million. It's a portion of that, and there is upside in that, we believe. And the last part here that I think is really important, we are very fortunate to do development from coast to coast, and I'm very lucky to kind of see what we're doing from a resources standpoint. And I will promise you, we are not doing anywhere near to this level of attention, nor are we investing this level of resources into retail anywhere. From California to New York, which we have several holdings there, this is the most we've ever done from this standpoint. So here's a look at the plan. I'm just going to call it a couple things and then we'll get into more detail. At the very top there, north on Smith Road, one of the items we've heard time and time again is truck traffic is a concern, right? And so we have made the park and designed it, and credit to our team who's much smarter than me to think of these things. Only vehicles will be able to access Smith Road. You cannot weave through the park and with a truck and get to the truck courts. So it's designed such that only cars can be there. And then as you work toward the left or the west, you're going to see a proposed traffic signal for all truck traffic. We're going to get into this in more detail. We have a slide for it. But there are some very innovative solutions and multiple solutions to help prevent your concern of truck traffic moving north. And then the last thing I would point out here is you can see to the far east there, the trail connection. That's going in day 1, as is all of the infrastructure to support that retail space on the south. So the way we've discussed this with your team is a phased project. And the reason is What you all don't want is you don't want all of the development on the north to occur without the retail that's most important to you. And so this has been divided into 3 phases. And what you can see here is to the left are our first 3 buildings to the north. You're going to see the Royal Farms location in the bottom left. As you keep going on the south there along Wick, all of that yellow highlight is sidewalk, landscaping that's going in from day one, as is the trail, the preservation, and you can basically loop the entire park there to see the investment going in on day one. And again, we're going to get into a little more detail, and the reason I want to do this is just to say thank you for the opportunity to push us to have a plan that you were looking for. So I'm going to go to this slide here, and this is really the heart of what we're talking about tonight. So phase 1, we have Royal Farms coming, and again, I'll describe them in a little more detail, and then our first 3 buildings. And those need to occur within 18 months. And so, again, this is not a, hey, let's wait until a year, 2 years, we're on the ball right away. Phase 2, you're requiring 3 additional retail users of North Point for us to bring to the table to serve the community. And we have a $2 million penalty if we don't do that. I'm not aware of a penalty like that for a development of this scale. This is a real risk to us, but I would tell you, this team has been challenged, and I would love to see us get the opportunity to find those next 3. And I think with Royal Farms, it's going to be really cool what we can do here. And then phase 3, the same way. So North Point, you guys can't do everything you were planning on doing unless we get what our residents need. And so that's why it's divided into 3 phases here. So Royal Farms, just real quickly, I know you guys have a lot going on, but I think this is really important. So Jamie Lamb is in the audience tonight. She and I happened to do a project with Royal Farms out on the East Coast in the Baltimore area. And after Brent came back from the meetings with you all, he said, this is not something we can wait on. We need to figure this out. And so really we're just sitting around and thinking, who can fill this need that brings fresh food, that is not a truck overnight, truck parking, that doesn't have showers. This is not a truck stop. What is first class? What is not anywhere else in the community? What can we do that answers all of these things for Romulus? And frankly, it didn't come to us right away. A couple months later, we reached out to Royal Farms, and it just so happens that their director of real estate is from Detroit. He was going to be up here in a couple weeks. And what I wanted to share is, I don't think that was totally coincidence, but on top of North Point leveraging tremendous resources to help recruit them here, I wanted to compliment the mayor and your staff for understanding that as well. And what they shared with us is, if you look at a map, if you drive the site, there's some things we need. And so instead of saying, well, let's look for the next one that's ready to go, all the conversations that were mentioned earlier, the team just put their heads together and how do we get them here? And so it's been a partnership and a recruiting effort, and I think a tremendous win for Romulus. Jump to this. So this slide just outlines some of their food offerings. It's also a very first-class coffee operation, and just because I spent some time on the East Coast, I can tell you, these are the nicest gas stations, fuel service stations, and restaurants with that combination that I've seen. And we're really excited about the variety of offerings, too, that they provide. So we're looking at phase 1 of the plan here, and I think there's a couple really interesting things to call out here. The first is you can see the entire perimeter of the site with berming and landscaping. So again, that's not something that we're going to do in 5 years. That's happening from day one. And what I would call your attention to here is under phase 1 to the right side, We talked about this as a team. Frankly, it was very surprising. We are going to be putting in almost 1,700 trees in Phase 1, and then almost 5,700 shrubs and grasses. I haven't seen us do that anywhere, and when you add that on top of the berming that Brad mentioned, that's greater than what the city and the overlay requires, we think this is going to come out from day one looking great. So speaking a little bit further to the connectivity and sidewalk system here, you can see highlighted the sidewalks and the trail that will go in from day one. And then the other component that we wanted to call out here is it's really important to connect to the retail on the south, right? We want the employees to be able to get there. We want the community to be able to access these easily. We don't want totally separate sections. And so we're going to put in the first one of those right away, and then we're going to see how the rest develops to see where it makes sense to put the others. But the bottom line is there, it's not only the sidewalks and the trail, but it's also vehicular connectivity. So this might be my favorite slide of the night, and the reason is I think you all know some things are a labor of love. And one of the most important things we heard from you over and over is trucks cannot go north. They cannot get to E-Course. And so that's where we basically huddle up several times, thanks to the staff and some of their thoughts, to not just have a one-pronged solution of, well, let's put a sign up and call it a day. This is, from all angles, the best approach we can think of. And so it starts with the new traffic signals that were mentioned, allowing for that left turn. What we would say is to I-94, and we've driven it many, many times, we've studied it, we've Googled it, it's a minute from where that light is, if you hit it wrong. It's probably quicker than that, but that's a conservative number. What we're gonna do from a design standpoint, so as you exit the park, if you're moving west as a truck, there's basically only one way you can go to get through there. The only way you can take a right turn is basically a slip that's not wide enough to accommodate a truck. And then at the corner, we're gonna put in some measures where you cannot make that turn without hitting something. And so there's design features going in. And then what I wanted to mention too is we are gonna put, and this is thanks to the city staff, a great recommendation, we're putting language in our lease that you cannot take a right as a truck out of this park. And so, as mentioned earlier, we are a long-term owner and operator. We hold that hammer at the end of the day with the lease, but we're not just leaving it to that, we're leaving it to design as well to help answer this. So I won't spend a lot of time here, but I think this really speaks to the meet or exceed the requirements here. And so I think the only interesting thing that I would call out for this slide is we've got the 10% required there. We're at 21%. If you add the green space to the east, it actually turns out to be about 67 acres. And so it's essentially a third of the entire park is green. So what I wanted to just hit on a couple things here. One of the tasks Brent gave us when we went back is don't guess at these things that you need to do. Figure out how to meet the intent and beat it. And so if you start on the bottom left here, what the master plan is asking for is a mixed-use commercial development. We are presenting a mixed-use development to you tonight, not one that will come in 5 years, but it will come very quickly with your support. It asks to accommodate some of the market demand for research and development. I did want to congratulate you on the Fort Ion project. What a tremendous and cool win for the community. In partnership with MEDC on our projects in the region, with Chris Girdwood here with Aerotropolis, with that project coming, we are absolutely confident that that second bullet point can be accomplished to meet the intent of your plan. The third thing is directing trucks to I-94. We did just go through that. We understand that's important, and we're committed to that. Provide new employment opportunities, especially for the residents of Romulus. We're really excited. We hope that as this moves forward, the job fair and the 2-week look ahead make a big difference for your community. And then the last item here is to provide an increased tax base to get a return on infrastructure. And so the taxes, we've been through that a couple times, but this is a large investment. It benefits Tifa, it benefits the school district, benefits your residents. So I'm just going to kind of go through quickly a couple last slides here, I promise. You won't have to listen to me much more, but I'm happy to answer any questions. So this is looking north at the retail section. Same thing here, just a little bit further west. A couple shots of landscaping, and what I would call out about the angle on the bottom right is that that's up in the air a little bit. So even though in here you see more of the building, the point was to get up in the air. That won't be visible to that level. Here's a few more shots, obviously just emphasizing the green space. And what I wanted to end with here is our promise to you. We are committed to making this happen. We moved quickly, but we've also heard you. We now know what you want, and we appreciate your candid feedback. We have the things in place to make this happen. Royal Farms is committed to being here. North Point has our equity in place with your support to make this happen. The phase 1 timeline that you see there at the bottom of the list, I know you've had concerns about things not happening and, in the future. We can absolutely meet that timeline with your support. And just to mention it one more time, this is a long-term partnership. The city has a tremendous opportunity in our opinion, and we really appreciate your consideration of this proposal. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah, Ms. Abdo have a question.
Hi, I have a question on on Royal Farms. You say there's no overnight parking there. Is that at all the Royal Farms? Because,
As far as I'm aware, it is, but I can check that, but I know the design of this will not have that. And
because if
know
they
that.
allow it elsewhere, I mean, let's face it, this is something that attracts truck drivers as well as people who are traveling. It's kind of a grab-and-go type place. And if we have truckers who are used to parking at Royal Farms, and they see a Royal Farms, and they say, hey, that's where my concern is. You say there's no overnight parking, but is that really going to happen?
It's part of, so one of the things that I forgot to mention about Royal Farms is that they maintain ownership of all their facilities. And so part of our agreement with Royal Farms, and we've got obviously a very detailed purchase and sale agreement, but they've asked us for a number of things, and we've asked them for a number of things. And one of the things that's in the agreement is that the whole intent is for them to meet the city's conditional rezoning agreement. And so anything that's inconsistent with that is a breach of that purchase and sale agreement. And so even though it's not designed for it, that's something we'll certainly take back and make sure is strong in there. Thank
Well,
you.
like I said, my concern is that they had allowed parking at other Royal Farms, which I kind of researched, and there has been. And what's to stop a trucker to come in, unwittingly and think, well, I can stay overnight there, it's a Royal Farms. That's where my concern is.
If I could, I don't believe there were any stalls designed for that here, so this facility would not accommodate that as it's designed currently.
I could just see a potential problem, that's all.
Okay, Ms. Williams.
Yes, so how far will the sidewalks, how far is your company willing to go with the sidewalks down Wick Road?
Are you saying east down Wick?
West down Wick. So west or east? I mean, just because when I went to the last meeting, they were saying that they had money for sidewalks. One of the representatives that was there at that meeting, is that still on the table?
Yes, and I'd ask Jim Kratz to comment on that, but I believe it's the entire.
Good evening. I'm James Kratz with North Point Development. We're going to go back here to the sidewalk plan. So the sidewalks will be constructed along Wick Road from our east property line all the way to Vining, and then from Vining all the way from Wick up to Smith, and from Smith all the way from Vining east to our property line along the public streets. In addition to that, we will also construct the sidewalk along the private drive within the park, and then the connections between the commercial and our development, and then also within our development to get to each of the buildings from the parking lots and connect the buildings together. And then the sidewalk that will run along kind of the south side of that road will kind of meander. Will overlook a drain that will be relocated on the site and have some benches and gathering areas for public and or employees. Does that answer the question?
No, because the young man I was speaking of, so west of Wick Road, that goes toward Wayne Road, and he was saying it was separate funding out there for sidewalks. So I was very interested in that. And I just think this is a regular council meeting. You come as a petitioner. I think what we should have really done is maybe had it in a study session, that those folks in that area, not us as council members, because there's only one that actually live in that area, and that's Mr. Barton, but I think it should have been a study session where the residents that chose to be here to hear what's coming in their community should have been here. I've never sit at a council meeting where a petitioner took right at an hour to present, what they were petitioning to bring to the city. And I just think the residents should have really been involved to know what's coming. They wasn't involved in the Amazon and some of the other buildings that's over there. And we as a legislative body have a vote, but yet and still we represent the residents. And we shouldn't be making decisions of what happened in a community that we don't even live. And I truly think that this should have been maybe more of a study session to where the residents could have spoke. I know one resident of the city wanted to speak, and he was told that he couldn't speak, and I don't see what reason why our chairperson would tell him he couldn't speak, because he may have a good question for you guys. And so I would ask the council, it's Mr. Heinberg, he asked to speak. Is the council against him speaking? I know the chair said no, but I don't see a reason why he shouldn't be able to ask a question.
I'm fine with it.
Anybody, agree that he should be able to ask this question?
I'm fine with him asking a question. Maybe we should have a public hearing on this, so that residents could come and express their point before we vote.
Okay, through the chair, if I may.
Go ahead, Mr. Webb.
Right now, this was a presentation. They are petitioners who have come to the legislative body. So,
I wasn't finished, John.
the second, well, they're bringing the petition to us. I'll put it like that, okay? So, but there's nothing wrong with Tony speaking, as far as I'm concerned, after we have all spoken and put our input in. I feel that we come first, and then a resident who may want to speak. But this tonight is, they are petitioners to us. And the public will have a chance, probably, how long, another 2 weeks, September, when it comes back to us for a second.
I wasn't finished.
The 27th, then the public will still, because whatever we do this evening is not cut in stone. This is only the first, presenting the first reading, but as far as whatever the Mayor Pro Tem says, it's on the Mayor Pro Tem.
He could speak on the public comment.
If I may say
Just a
so.
minute, hold on. Let's let Ms. Williams finish, and then Ms. Webb get back to you.
Yeah, because I
Go ahead.
wasn't finished.
Well,
And you're saying we're gonna make a decision, vote on it, and then the second reading. Is that what you're saying, Councilwoman Webb?
Yeah, this is just
So-
like a
so what I'm
presentation
saying-
to us.
What I'm
And
saying, I
then-
understand what it is. I totally understand that. But before they even brought it to us, the residents have a right to know. They didn't get that with Amazon. Sorry, gentlemen. They didn't get that with Amazon or some of the other businesses. And I think we should just make sure that we include them before we make a decision. They may have some questions, and I understand you say they're coming back on the 27th, but at that point, you're already done approved it. You're going for the second reading. It's protocol. And I've never seen petitioners come and speak for an hour, to petition something for an hour. It should have been in a study session. That's just my opinion. I do have one, and Mr. Heimberg stepped up and told me that it was said to him that he couldn't speak, and I just didn't understand why he couldn't speak as a resident. We let businessmen come here and speak for almost an hour, if not a little over an hour, and then we tell the resident they can't, they have to wait until public comment when the business folks will be gone.
Okay, well,
Well,
I give up my time, but I have been here where petitioners have spoken more than an hour.
Right.
Sometimes we're here to midnight, I've been here to midnight. But I just relinquish my time,
opinion.
turn it over to you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yeah,
so
what I-
that our resident is able to come up to speak.
What I'd like to say is, normally, it would have been most appreciative if he would have spoke to me to speak under my report, since I am the chairman, instead of going to other route. I really would have appreciated that.
So bottom line, are you going to give him permission to come speak?
Will you let Tony speak?
You coming up to speak?
As a council, I'm going to put it back on you. Now, I noticed that I said no. You can speak on a public comment. Now, if the council want him to speak, other than under public comment, speak up now.
I think he should be able to speak. It's relevant to what's been going on. If he speaks during public comment, that's already after the vote. He might have something important to say.
Do other council members feel that way?
And just real quick,
Yeah.
Mr. Barton, I just
Yeah.
want to add this for the record. When the planning commission had their meeting, when this was done? Back in a couple of weeks ago?
August.
And when I was reading through the minutes, there was public comment and no one spoke at the planning commission. So I'm just a little curious about, no one spoke. So I'm just saying it was at a planning commission which is open to the public. No one spoke.
Mr.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can I speak?
Go ahead, Mr. Abdo,
I
and then
think
Ms.
one of the
Webb.
reasons that maybe some people didn't know about it was because it was at a special meeting of the planning commission, not their regularly scheduled. So that's all I'm saying. So maybe they didn't know about the special meeting. I didn't.
Excuse me, through the chair.
Yes, Ms. Webb.
If I may. We're not concerned about the study session with planning. We're not concerned about anything else. Allow the resident to ask his questions, then we can get on with our regular meeting. The petitioners were here to present this to the legislative body. But since we have a resident who wants to speak, let Mr. Hamburger speak, okay? Come
Is
on
Mr.
up,
Hamburg, hold on,
I mean,
hold.
this is-
Is Mr. Hamburg, are you in the audience now?
Yes, he is.
Come up and speak quickly, and then we're going to move on, because we can sit here all night.
Mr. Chairman, we could also have staff speak to the portion about being advertised to the public and the public process and the planning commission, because it is going through this normal process.
Okay.
Usually the planning commission meets the third Monday of the month. This meeting was held August 31st. That is not the third Monday, guys. So it was a special meeting. I had hoped that our liaison would have told us at the previous council meeting before that, so everybody would have known about it, so we could have watched, could have heard, so on. A couple of items. When you have the trailers, excuse me, when you have the semi-trailers and so on, I thought they had to be MT2 trucking, especially having the trailers. How many trucks are going to be coming into this facility? Semi-trucks. Our roads cannot handle this at this point. Not only the trucks, granted, they're going to be going right from point A to point B, but how many cars? Have we done the traffic study on how many cars are going to be used in this area, coming through our neighborhoods even? Hopefully it's Romulus residents working, but how many cars are going to be added on to our roads? Our city does not have the money to fix our roads at this point. They want to add some signals. Great. Who's going to pay for those signals? I'm not for sure if this council realizes a traffic signal, you are paying $600 a year for the electricity for that traffic signal. For each traffic signal. You can look the information up, I have. Unless we plan on doing some type of new thing, which would be cool for our city to do, is that if you get the LEDs, you can do it by solar. Then we pay nothing. It's a thought. Is it something you guys could add to the project so we're not having additional bills on top of other things with the roads? I would hope that the council would think about it and let the citizens really hear about this project. I see some good things here, yes, don't get me wrong. There are some good things here. But I wish more citizens would know about it. And before you vote, let the citizens be more informed about the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Okay, was you finished, Ms.?
Yes, and you know what, I'm looking at this, and I looked at, is this a facility that you can actually dine in? Like a family dining?
Yes, there is sit-down seating in it.
Sit down, I'm looking at the picture. So it's actually family dining like a restaurant? Because the pictures that's in here is more like, nothing personal, but a upscale, high-end speedway.
It is very nice and has qualities like that, but it also has the sit-down component as well.
Sit down, I just want to be sure. Is it like a restaurant, or is it like similar to like the speedway? You set up the gas and you can go in.
There's a fresh kitchen, so I can walk in there, look at the menu above, order, take it to a table, and sit down and eat it.
Okay. I just want to know, because just the way it look, and then the way you have an advertising here, hot dogs, and I think our restaurants, and I know me, myself, as I would like to see more like where you can sit down, take a family out, family dining, steak, you know, lobster, or something to that extent, versus something that we have similar. Speedway is on a whole different level, not your level, but yet and still it's almost similar. Thank you.
Mayor, you had something?
Yeah, I just might want to address some of those points that came up, because there's some unique solves and costs on the petitioner for some of those improvements. And I'm sure we could address some of those as far as staff with the planning process and the public involvement. It was a special meeting that they requested, and we advertised just the same way we do at normal meetings. It doesn't matter what day of the week it was. We went through all the same protocol. So I guess I would say, I don't know who wants to tackle which one first, but traffic came up. That's one to talk about. The signals and signal cost is another one. And then the planning process, Carol, would be one to touch as well. So.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, this was a public hearing at the Planning Commission on August 31st. They requested a special meeting to give the Planning Commission time to fully review it. It's a big project. It's one of your biggest ones. So it was noticed. There are 3 signs on the property, I believe you guys put up, right? Yep, there are 3 signs that have a map, you know, advertise the conditional rezoning, and, you know, so that was there, so everybody that drove down Smith, Vining, and Wick could see that. There were notices on the city website, under public notices for the meeting, and again, it was a public hearing, and We didn't get comments in. We opened up, Ellen, through YouTube for comments for anybody, watching on YouTube, and we didn't have any comments. We didn't have any letters written. Nobody spoke on it, but it was very adequately advertised. So,
Thank you, Carol.
John Russell.
Can we address, Brad, some of the things, and also part of the agreement that covers the cost of those signals and
Yeah,
enhancements, please?
Jessica helped here also, but they did a very detailed traffic study. We didn't accept the first traffic study, and they didn't have all the information, so they brought in a different traffic engineer. And so they did a very detailed study. We reviewed it. OHM did a review letter, I think is in the packet, and goes through the number of trucks and autos for the whole development, the distribution center, but also the commercial, and talks about all the improvements needed. That's how we came up with the 3 traffic signals, one of which is actually needed now, westbound on-ramp on 94 at Vining Road, plus another signal for the eastbound ramp at the 94 interchange, plus this signal on Vining Road at their main entrance. And then they did a detailed assessment of all the other turning movements in the area and determined what improvements were needed. Then they worked with Jessica Cater and OHM to put together an outline of the improvements that would be needed. And kind of a big surprise to me was almost all the improvements are needed with phase 1. So when they mentioned all the sidewalks going in, landscaping and so forth with phase 1, we thought the improvements to the roads would probably be sequenced over time, but they're all needed with phase 1. So the improvements will be made, and part of the improvements will be made by TIFA through the tax increment financing, but North Point is paying for a good portion of the signal improvements and other roadway improvements. So Jessica, do you want to add any more detail? But there is a couple pages also in the conditional rezoning agreement that outlines what improvements are being made, so they are paying their fair share for the road improvements.
It is, to build on what Brad had stated, they're actually going to install all of the infrastructure to begin with, and then they would apply for reimbursement from the TIF district for up to $1 million worth of the infrastructure that was installed. But in order to apply for that reimbursement, they have to meet all of their obligations underneath phase 1. So that 18-month timeline that they had stated would have, they would have occupancy and build out of the first 3 buildings, and the retail building all need to occur before they would apply for any reimbursement on those funding sources. The $2 million that was shown a couple times in here included all of the infrastructure that would help the water system, would include the pathways, the landscaping along the perimeter, and then the traffic improvements were all included in that $2 million. So they're putting the infrastructure in to begin with, and then asking for reimbursement once they've completed their phases.
I have a question.
Question.
Yes, so this is the company that is interested also in the 2 parcels that's on Smith Road? Is this the same project?
2 parcels where? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. On the 2 parcels where?
On Smith Road, that we just put up for sale?
Okay, thank you.
Yes, there's 2 pieces of former right-of-way that bisect the site that are integral to the development of the site.
So is those parcels included in this plan?
Yes, they are.
So have we put those parcels up for bid yet?
Stop. They're the 2 parcels in white that run through the middle of the stripe area there.
So it's included, but not really yet, because we haven't put it up for bid yet. Have we? We put it up for sale, we agreed to put it up for sale, but have it went for bid?
I don't know, Julie, you want to speak on it, to the process for property disposition? That's why Julie Albert's here.
Hi, good evening. On, I believe it was the August 9th council meeting, City Council approved to let for bid. So the property was advertised in the September 9th Eagle. It will be advertised again in the September 16th Eagle. I have the for sale signs in my office that need to be posted. I need to get on that. I need to get that done. The bids will be open, submitted to the clerk's office and opened on September 20th at 2:15. And then decision be made by or recommendation, I should say, will be made by the Property Disposition Committee and presented to council for the sale.
Okay, so that's why I asked the gentleman, you're including it in your plan, but it haven't even went to bid. So I just wanted to know.
I don't think we should vote on it.
just wondering the process current.
Well, I was actually talking to Julie, since she's the assessor, and North Point, because I just wanted to know, was that those two parcels that we just voted to, sell, had they went for bid yet? Because I hadn't heard, had none came back to us. And that's why I asked the gentleman, had they, in this plan, had they included the two parcels? Because common sense tell me, how do you include something that haven't went to bid and haven't been sold? So I just wanted to know that. Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of have a problem with voting this if those two parcels are not even, have gone to bid yet. It's kind of hard to really approve something that you're including two parcels which you may not even own, depending on the bid process. And my next question was, John, concerning the building, you guys have done a great job with rerouting the trucks, but what my concern is the construction trucks. We've had a tremendous amount of damage done to some of our roads, and we just, Wick Road has just been redone. Are these trucks going to come in a certain way for the building? Are they going to be regulated? Because our roads can't afford any more destruction, some of the side roads. So I would hope there would be a plan that would have the construction trucks follow the same routes.
Ms. Roscoe?
I got a couple comments. First on the parcels that were put out for bid. I'd like to explain that those are old roads that went through there. They're not like acres of property. They're like sections of a road that connected Wick and Smith back in the day. That's where they're at. If someone else was to buy them, then you'd have easements, and then you'd have to come back with a different plan as far as that goes. But I can't imagine anybody else wanting to buy a road through the middle of the properties that you guys own. But I mean, it's possible, but I imagine we'll cross that boat when it comes on in September there. Another thing is we have to remember that there's a lot of variables here. We need to get started on this property and this land over there, and we're talking about $38 million a year for our schools. That's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And they're not asking for an abatement on any of their other personal property taxes, the taxes that go into the TIFA, which help maintain that area. The sidewalks, the extra links they're going to for screening. The fact that retail has to be built first, not after the fact. It's easy to build a warehouse and then say we're going to put something else there later. But these things have to be in place before you can go to phase 2, before you can go to phase 3, and then there's penalties. You've got, $2 million in penalties, so this can't be drug out for 10 years. We're talking about the first phase penalty, the second phase penalties. There's penalties all the way down the road. On top of the fact that you would have to cover the legal fees as far as that goes. There's a lot of things here. You have to outweigh the good with the bad. We don't want our residents to be impacted in a negative way at all. We never do. But on the other hand, we have to develop this property over here. We can't just leave it empty fields for the next 50 years. And by developing Wick Road with retail, whether it's restaurants, whether it's a phone store, whether it's small shopping areas or whatever it may be down the road, once those buildings are built, the retail are going to come in there, and once this process continues. And the thing of it is, you can't go to the next phase without those phases of retail being built first. So that is just the initiative right there, to be able to get to your second phase and get to your third phase. The other thing is these sidewalks are going to go all the way down and connect to where your hotel area is. It's going to help the employees to, whether they utilize Wick Road's retail or whether they take the sidewalk and go up to Merriman Road and utilize the businesses there. It's only going to bring more businesses to Merriman Road, more availability for the employees through that course of action. The Planning Commission went through very lengthy meetings with North Point over this, asked a lot of serious questions. Not very often does the Planning Commission come back with everyone voting yes for a project, especially when it comes to the truck traffic, sidewalks, retail, the things that are important to council. And we did. We come back and everyone voted, said, yes, this is the best plan we've ever seen. They've gone above and beyond, and we need to take that next step and get started on it. The other thing is our meetings are always posted when we have special meetings here, when we have study sessions beforehand, and everything else. And there's protocol to put those meetings out there, whether it's on cable or on the door, out on social media, through our city website. Those meetings are listed. So at this point, I don't have any other comments except for the fact that I feel that the Planning Commission has done their due diligence as to bringing the best plan that we have seen ever for this section over here. And you have to look at the tax base that is going to come into the city, and especially for our schools. If we do not improve our schools, if we do not continue to build them up, we're not going to get our residents to stay. We're not going to get our residents to come in, because that's one of the first things they ask is how are the Ramos schools? How are their buildings? How is this? How is that? And just at the fact, I know when I sat on the school board, $38 million was almost our whole yearly budget. So when I look at that number, I know what we had to do with it back then. I know what they could do with it now. So with that all said, if no one else has any other comments, I'll make the motions, but.
I understand, Celeste, you sitting on the planning commission, but I just received a text message that if anybody have any questions about what was in the pertaining to the petitioner. And as I said before, how do you make plans, even if you think nowhere in the world no one would consider of buying those two parcels, you still don't make plans to do something with it before you go through the proper procedures. That's all I'm saying. I understand it's a great plan. I understand that. It looks good. It makes that area look good. But at the same time, let's follow protocol. If we just voted to sell the two parcels and it haven't even went up to bid, how do we approve a project to come when those parcels haven't even been put out for bid? So that's all I have to say. And that's why I don't.
And my comment to that is if someone else comes in there and buys those two roads through there, as we used to call Vining Road, the road to nowhere, and it is now becoming the road to somewhere, and that's to us. If somebody buys those two sections of road, which is two small car lengths across, then they'll have to figure it out and move their warehouses over or whatever. But what I'm saying is this is the best plan we've seen, and we need to move forward with it.
One thing, Mayor, you had something
Yeah,
to
just
say?
on the process, they're just running concurrent, so that'll still come back to council. This still comes back for second reading. Not uncommon to run, things concurrent at the same time, that's all, so.
Any other questions from council?
No.
No, okay.
Okay, I'm going, with no other questions, I'm going to make the first motion to approve the first reading of the zoning map amendment and associated conditional rezoning and development agreement and development plan for RZ-2020-002 for North Point Romulus Trade Center to conditionally rezone 171.60 acres of property, including parcel ID number 80-039-99-0001-706, and also number 80-039-99-001-707, and I'm just going to keep reading these numbers. Number 80-039-99-0001-708, number 80-040-99-002-713, and number 80-040-99-0002-714 from RC Regional Center to M1 Light Industrial.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Talley, for RZ 2020-002/SLU-2020-003, Romulus Trade Center, North Point. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call vote. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
No.
Chair votes yes, the motion is approved.
Mr. Chair, I'll make that second motion to approve special land use SLU-2020-003 North Point Romulus Trade Center to construct 7 to 9 light industrial and distribution buildings greater than 80,000 square foot in size, and the Romulus Trade Center, subject to, 1, a revised conditional rezoning and development agreement and development plan per the comments of the Planning Commission, city staff, and consultants, and 2, any additional items as determined by the City Council.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Webb, for second reading. First, condition rezoning. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
I have discussion, I have a question next, city attorney. Is this legal that we can actually approve something before it's actually sold?
It's not rezoned until you have the second.
No, I'm saying sold, the property. Right now, it haven't even went to bid. So I'm just asking you.
No, I don't think it's a problem. We own the property right now.
You own the property, but it haven't went to bid. So it's okay?
Ms. Williams?
No?
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Number 4 is the chairperson's report.
Chairperson has nothing, no report.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to accept your report.
Support.
The motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Talley, for approval of the chairperson's report. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes?
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
The chair votes yes, motion is approved. Thank you.
Number 5 is the mayor's report.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any action items, but I did want to have Mary come up and talk a little bit about the festival. There's some changes and some things. It's a big week later this week for the community. So, Mary, could you come up and give an overview?
Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor, Clerk, Deputy Clerk, City Attorney, and listening audience. Yes, this is a very big week for us. It's our 23rd Annual Pumpkin Festival, so I just want to remind you and welcome and invite you to come and attend on Friday. We'll be kicking it off with the Ramos Rotary Parade of Lights. So that'll be taking place on Goddard between Hunt and 5 Points. So come early, get some food, and get your spot. And then come back and join us again on Saturday where we're moving the Pumpkin Festival back to Goddard Road. So we'll have our vendors, we'll have kids' activities, the car show, and the cornhole tournament going on Goddard Road. So that'll be taking place from 11 to 8. And then on Sunday, we're having our community day on Sunday on Hunt Street. So this is a new event, welcoming back our Sunday event. And I just want to give a shout out to our volunteers, our subcommittee, all of the hard work that they've put into the last 3 months, really working hard to bring you guys and our community, our visitors, everyone, a great 3-day event. So visit our website, romulusgov.com, at our Pumpkin Festival page, our city Facebook page, our Downtown Romulus page for all of the list of the events. Thanks.
Thank you.
Is that all for the mayor's report? Okay, great.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Number 6 is the clerk's report. I have one action item, and this is a public hearing request for October 4th, 2021 at 6:00 p.m. And this is from the Public and Safety Department is requesting a 30-minute public hearing. This is to show cause as to why the properties at 5873 and 6031 Wayne Road should not be demolished as set forth in Chapter 6, Section 8-157 of the City Code of Ordinances. The date and the time, both are available.
Through the chair, if I may.
Yes, Ms. Webb.
I'd like to make that motion for the public hearing request on the date that was stated by our city clerk.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Webb, supported by Ms. Talley, for the public hearing request dated October 4th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you. That concludes the clerk's report.
Thank you.
There is no treasurer's report this evening. That takes us to number 8, public comment, and this is the portion of the agenda for those that are in the audience who would like to address City Council. The rules to address City Council can be found on the back of the meeting agenda. If you would like to address City Council, please raise your hand and, after being acknowledged by the chairperson, approach the podium and state your name. Please note, members of the public who submitted a public comment card will be called upon first. You will have 3 minutes to speak, and any additional time will be upon the consent of the chairperson. As a reminder, members of the public viewing tonight's meeting via the city's broadcast or on our YouTube Live can submit their public comments to publiccomment@romulusgov.com before the end of the public comment period of the agenda. We do have 2 written requests, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
The first one is from Lisa Denny.
Good evening, everyone. First off, I just want to know, whose job is it to authorize stop signs?
Authorize what?
Stop signs. I've been petitioning, I've been through the city since May, trying to get a 4-way stop in my area. We've talked to the mayor, we've talked to city council, not city council, but road commission, we've talked to the police department. They came out the other day and put out a speed control to take the test. Well, they see the speed control, they're going to slow down, okay? They're just going to automatically slow down. In the recent activity between between Inkster, Beverly, we live in a subdivision where it's nothing but semi-trucks coming through. I had lived between Inkster and Middle Belt off of Beverly. Semi now are coming through our subdivision. Cars are speeding from Middle Belt all the way to Cordell because there is no stop sign. We have a lot more children in our area. a lot more smaller children, because we don't have sidewalks, the kids play in the streets. With the speeding, I'm afraid someone's going to get hurt or get killed. And all I want is, I've been asking and asking for years for a four-way stop on the corner of Joan and Central. Nothing more to ask from the city or from anybody else. I just ask, why can't we get it? That's all I ask. And you're supposed to be voting on it soon, and I'm putting my opinion on. I brought my sister-in-law here. She's lived there for 46 years. She can vouch on the speeding. People just don't care between our city because this is a small division. We're like we've forgotten a small subdivision that nobody cares about. Because the semis come through, now they are coming because of the construction, they are coming through our subdivision off of Joan to get back on the Middle Belt.
Miss Webb?
Yes, through the chair. Honey, I'm sorry, I did not hear your name.
I'm Lisa Denny.
Would you
I'm sorry.
pull your mic down? Yeah.
Okay,
so
I'm sorry, I'm
that-
small, I'm tiny.
No, that's okay. That was Joan. That came to us, I believe.
Yeah, and I'm still getting no results, and I keep getting a phone call say, yes, you're gonna get a stop sign. No, I'm not getting a stop
Okay,
sign.
well, it hasn't gotten back to us yet.
But I'm just putting my point,
That was, 2 weeks ago, I believe.
Okay, I'm putting my opinion out there that we do need it. It's a
Okay.
safety issue. It's a speed issue, but it's more of a safety issue because of the smaller children in our area.
Yes, and thank you for coming forth, but yeah, we did receive it in our packet, and we were waiting for it to be returned
They
to
put
the
a, they
council.
put a speed.
To the council.
They put a speed monitor there. Well, it's not going to show you that people are speeding because they see it, they're going to slow down. I had one person, and it only reads one way. I had one person actually, after they dropped it off, come from Cordell, speed up his tires, went straight down Joan to Middle Belt, squealing his tires. So I know you tell me he's got to be doing 50, 60 miles an hour down that area. And when you yell slow down, I get I get little nasty things to sent to me, or little nasty gestures. All I'm asking is the safety of our children. That's all I'm asking.
It's in
Ms.
process.
Abdo?
Thank you.
Hi, I'm sorry, I didn't hear where you wanted the Jones and what?
Joan and Central.
Okay, last time that I had a resident request that, I was told by the police chief that they had to put up a sign, the speed sign, and they were doing a study, and from then on, they
Yeah, but the
determined.
study's going to say that nobody's speeding down our area, because you're going to see it, and people are going to slow down. And it only reads one way, it doesn't read the other way.
Okay, so we can check on that.
Yes.
Yeah, I am just wanting,
Mayor?
Yeah, it's
Well,
in
speak on
process. This one, when she mentioned the intersection, it's in process, and it'll be coming back to you shortly. So
Okay.
that, you'll have an answer back. It's not, it has to go through the right channels to make sure we're putting the right signals in, and they look at all aspects, but it's in process, so.
Okay, Miss Roscoe, and then Ms. Williams.
I think a lot of your issues over there too is because of all the construction on Inkster and the corner of Middle Belt. But on the other hand, I've been over there when I've seen that going on. And just like the mayor said, we're going through the proper channels, and we will get some stop signs, we will get some issues over there resolved. Because it's such a long stretch from Middle Belt to Cordell that they have plenty of time to get their speed up.
oh, yeah, and,
And that's kind of right in the middle, and that will slow them down where they have to stop.
and the bus stop is right there, too.
Yep, yep,
And
exactly.
not only, not saying I don't support the bar on the corner. I totally support John and his family on that bar, because it is a neighborhood bar. But you get people that do drink and they do ride in the area, But
When their study comes back, I don't think you're going to have a problem getting stop signs through this council.
I appreciate
for that area.
I really do
It is a long
appreciate the
stretch
stop signs.
through there.
Because there is 2 small children on that corner now, and they're only 2 and 1.5. And I can just foresee, if you have toddlers, they're just going to get away from you. I just don't want anything to happen to them. Plus, I have 2 grandchildren on my side that play there.
We appreciate you coming and your concern.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Williams?
Just a minute.
Hold on, Miss. She had one question.
Yeah, and just in case, as you said, once they get up to the speed machine, they slow down?
Oh, yeah.
So just in case, I would suggest that you maybe have so many of your residents that witness this speeding, because it's happening all over the city, that, maybe sign something and present it to us before it come back to us, so we have something else to confirm.
Oh, I can get
In case that machine doesn't show what you guys see on a regular basis.
I can get the neighborhood to sign a petition. I've already asked for quite a few people in my area.
And then you can present it to the mayor, he'll present it to us, and that way you got something else to bag up what you guys are saying.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, we have another written request.
Okay.
Tony Heimberger.
Good evening, Tony Heimberger. A couple of items. Do we know when North Line is going to open? Since North Line is closed, and we have talked about trucks, have any of you driven to Huron River Drive and Hannon?
Yes. Yes.
It is,
Atrocious.
I don't know how to describe it at this point. It's terrible.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think we need to get that road open because people are gonna start busting stuff badly. Secondly, and this is just a side note to Ms. Williams, the way to look at those two roads, the city's just rezoning it for themselves and they're selling them in the process. You're not approving their project tonight, you're just so you know. Next thing, are we going to come up with an ordinance for grow houses?
For what?
Ever?
For what?
Grow houses
Oh.
and distributions.
Oh, okay.
Because I know there's some people downtown trying to do it. I hope it does not happen. I hope the ordinance would be something to the consideration of they cannot be within 1,000 feet of schools, churches, parks, or any residential use. That way they are kept in a industrial area only. So we don't have any of our residents or anybody like that, because they will draw crime, I feel. That's me personally. And what is the possibility of getting a moratorium on any further truck terminals, freight forwarding, so on, so et cetera? We have several areas in the city that have empty buildings setting. I think we need to get a list for the council together so you know what's going on in our city. If they're empty, let's get those buildings filled before we keep building new ones. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. That was the last written request.
Okay, are there any other comments from the audience? Yes, Dan Walker.
Hello, Council, Yada Phillips. So I had a couple questions. I don't know if y'all, I know Ms. Talley is aware of this because I called Ms. Talley when this happened. When we're bringing in all of this industrial, this was kind of a shock to me and charged to my head and not my heart because I wasn't aware of the planning, where this whole planning thing happened. But I think the direction we're going in is great, but I had to call one day because we had an accident happen on Ecorse Road, and I believe a car caught on fire. But the direction to send the trucks into the neighborhood threw me. These trucks, like when OHM, oh, okay. We gotta look at it some kind of way that even if we are putting this up, I'm not against it. When there's an incident or there's something going on with our trafficking, we can't have semi-trucks coming through our neighborhood. We had semi-trucks coming through our neighborhood. I literally, and for the police chief, that was Yada Phillips that called, I called, because instead of directing them down Vining Road, they sent them through our neighborhood. When you had Vining that was completely open to 94 east and west, so that the trucks could go out. And I understand it would have detoured them a little bit, but that's a concern for me. When we're looking at putting more trucks into our neighborhood, that concerns me. And then the 38 million that's going to the school, wonderful. However, when we put Amazon up, when we brought Amazon in, it took up a lot of our policing. Our police can't handle dealing with too much more. They can't. I'm calling saying, hey, we got people speeding, we got people about to kill somebody in a neighborhood, and they're at Amazon. Because we're dealing with Amazon and their theft. We're dealing with Amazon and the traffic that comes in with them. So, not to put any burden on North Point, but some of that money gotta go into our policing. It has to. There's no way that we can continue to bring all of this retail here, or all of the industrial retail, or whatever it is that we want to bring into the city of Romulus, without making sure that our fire and safety is supported behind it as well. School is very important. I'm not taking away from our children. But I can't take away from those men and women that are out there protecting us as well. So we got to look at that money that's coming in. And then the other question that I have is, because I wanted to start participating in the gun violence, but I noticed that our city didn't even go for the money that the government gave us for us to even try to participate into the gun violence. There was funds out there for us that we weren't even on the list. And so it was kind of heartbreaking when I'm out here as an investigator trying to do what I do and do my due diligence, but also have something with our gun violence. So my question is, when are we gonna start going for those grants and all of the monies that's out there that's available to us as a city? Because it will help us economically, but it'll help us as a city in a whole.
Okay.
And I'll save my next question for next week.
Okay, thank you. Are there any, go ahead, Walker. Kind of matching with that mask.
Good evening to
Good evening.
everyone. My name is Sharon Walker, and I'm a longtime Romulus resident. What I wanted to ask about, because I haven't heard it mentioned at all, the court is finished, the parking lot is finished, everything is finished. What is happening with the Veterans Monument? They haven't had any meetings, because I'm looking for them. And I'd like to know what is happening with the Veterans Monument.
John. We've had a meeting, so we have had meetings. And Mr. McCray, the building director, presented us with a diagram to move the monument over to the Bird's House. So I'm not for sure, sorry, council, that wasn't shared with you, but I'm not for sure if, I know we didn't vote on that. I know we voted for the monument to be back here at City Hall, but the latest thing that was presented to us was that the Veteran Monument be moved over to the Bird's House. So I don't know if Mr. McCray can answer that, of who gave the authorization to have those plans drawn up by the engineer, because it was a really nice drawing, but to my knowledge, the council voted when that court was being built to have that monument put back on the City Hall property.
Wouldn't they notify the people that actually bought the bricks, or if they were going to change it, to put it someplace else?
Well, it's not set in stone. That was just something that was presented to us. If the mayor would like, he can have Mr. McCray come up and explain what's going on.
Well, I thought that was the starting of it out there in front of City Hall. And they haven't put anything on that. It's just kind of there. Whatever that thing is out there.
I know I still have both of the drawings where when we approved the building, the structure of the court, it was two different drawings that was presented to council with the monument, and it was really nice. So what happened, what changed, I'm not for sure.
Okay, someone would answer that, unfinished business.
But so, through the chair, Mayor, you wouldn't like for Bob to come up and?
No, I was going to answer all those questions.
But see, the problem I have is, and the residents are complaining, that is not your call to have us, to make a resident go sit down while they're asking a question on unfinished business. We shouldn't do that. I understand that council allowed you to put that in place before, but I'm not allowing it. If a resident come up here under public comment and they have a question, we should answer it. They asking the council, they're not asking the mayor. So I asked you twice.
No,
Mr. McCray, excuse me, I'm speaking.
Well, hurry up, because I'm...
No,
I'm gonna
don't
speak
tell me to
him.
hurry up, just hold on. So I was wondering, I was hoping that you would let the building director come up here and answer her question, because I'm constantly getting calls about that. And that's a big concern of the residents when they were promised that that monument was going to be broke down, stored, and then replaced. And to now have something totally different.
Ms. Williams, would it have been okay if you just answered on the unfinished business?
No, that's not my choice, that's your choice.
That's why I said.
That's your
let's do it
choice,
on the
though.
Unfinished business.
That's
why I'm
your
giving
choice.
it.
I answered the resident because they was under public comment, through the chair.
Yeah.
So we're done now.
Okay, that's why I said, Ms. Williams, that's why I said the mayor will answer that on the unfinished business.
But she was see, what you have to
I didn't tell her to
understand,
sit
Chair,
down.
is the council meeting. And so when a resident come up to that podium, they're talking to the council. If we can't answer, we can pass it on to the mayor. So if you choose for them to wait, that's your choice. It's not mine.
Okay. Next.
Crystal Price, longtime resident for Romulus. And I truly want to apologize to you. I'm sorry, what is the name of your...
Can you speak into the mic?
We can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
What is the name? I apologize to you, North Point Development, that you have to see this, but this
You guys speak into the mic. We can't hear you.
Okay, John, you don't have to talk to me like I'm your child. I'm not your child. I can talk into the mic. I know how to talk into the mic.
Come on now. Let's move on.
No, you're not going to, look, let me tell you something, John. I've had just a little bit enough of you today, listening to you, dictating and telling people what to do. You need to learn your job.
Okay, I'm
Because
giving you...
you're not doing your job sitting
I'm
up
going to
there.
have to cut you off.
Okay? Cut me off if you want to.
Talk, or either I'm going to have to cut you off.
No, okay. And you're running this year? You're running for re-election, are you?
That has nothing to do.
But I just want you to know that we weren't aware of your project. And I'm talking to them, I'm not talking to you, John.
In the mic, just please.
I'm turning out of respect. Okay? We weren't aware. They say that they posted it and they did it on cable and they did, okay, a lot of us work, members work, we work, residents work, some people don't have cable. I don't even think cable's on anymore. I think people do the internet and whatnot. But we really want to know what this is all about. Like, the plan is beautiful, but we weren't aware that you guys were doing this. And it's only fair that us residents, we put them in these seats. Okay, but you see the respect that we get when we come up to the counter, when we come here to speak. We're told we can't speak, we're told to shut up, we're told this, that, and the other. It's gonna stop. Because see, we're getting ready to go into a new election, and this is all gonna change. Okay? So, I don't know what we have to do here, but I heard that man up on that screen, and he kept apologizing. And I want to know why he kept apologizing to City Council and what that was all about. We need to know what's going on. And I'm quite sure that the residents of Romulus want to know everything, because we don't even have a grocery store in our city. And I see that this beautiful, store that, the beautiful Royal, what's it called? Royal Farms, it's beautiful. We don't even have a grocery store. So, and then to hear that there's property that hasn't even been bidded on, and you guys are, like, I don't know, something's wrong here. And I'm sorry that you guys have to be the ones, but you know what? This is actually a good thing, because what was meant for harm is going to turn to good out of this. I trust and believe when I tell you that. Okay, we're going to have this is going to change. The city of Ramos is definitely going to change. There's a big change coming. So people just better get ready for it, because it's coming. But I just want to let you know that you shut me down many a times when I came to this podium, Mr. Barden. And I'm telling you now, no more.
Okay, time is up.
Enough is enough.
Enough, time is up, thank you. Thank you. Next. Any other comments from the audience? If there's no other comments from the audience, close that part out.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That takes us to number 9, unfinished business.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I have a couple answers I can fire away, and then I'll open it up to Bob to come up. Northline Hannon, we're waiting for DTE. They had a design that had a flaw. I don't have an exact date. I wish I could tell you. I got a response on an email today, so as soon as we can get that open, the road's done. It took us 5 years of working with the county, the state, Van Buren to get that enhanced improvement there, and that we're ready just as soon as the residents are. But I would ask the residents, please respect the barriers. Don't move barriers. Don't cut through that. We've had to go out and replace and patrol that because it's not safe. It's got to be barriered off until the signals are hooked up and functioning. So I'll keep you posted on that one. There were some other questions about the gun violence and some of the grants that are out there. Actually, we had a good meeting with the chief today, and there are some opportunities. We're looking at every opportunity. We have a whole team that City Council's heard about in all areas. We had a call today, a Zoom call, where we proposed several opportunities for grants. So we're looking at everything from policing, the gun violence grant, to infrastructure, to water and others. So we'll keep you posted. And as soon as those are tangible, we can bring them to council, we will. But I'm actually like to hear that because we're working on that. The Veterans Memorial, Bob, can you, I know we're planning on having by next meeting a little update, but just give them a little bit about the process and where you are and what they can expect to see in pretty short order.
Absolutely. I'm very excited about it. We had a resident and an employee give us a good idea. I met with the committee at the location, and the thought was to install the monument at the Veterans Park. At the birdhouse. We call it a Veterans Park. It opens up to more grants to possibly finish the house and make it a very nice area. So we're looking for those ideas and thoughts and costs. When we met with the committee last time, they liked the idea. They wanted more information from me, and I'm working with OHM right now to nail that down, and then we're going to have a public hearing on it. But we talked to the Historical Commission. Everybody we talked to at the VFW, they've all been very excited about the transition and the possibility of a Veterans Park. But if we have a public hearing and people come and they don't like the idea, then we'll reinstall here.
Okay. Yeah, and as far as the names of the people at Brick State, we're going through that and notifying people, so the people that had loved ones or friends or whatnot.
Through the chair.
So the one thing I want to comment on is about the unfinished business and why the protocol. What really helps is if we have staff that's in the audience that report to the administration to allow me to bring those up to address those different ones. And it's not to stifle anybody or not have their answers. What we don't want to have is someone standing at the podium talking to somebody in the audience. It's a council meeting, so it goes to the chair. And if anytime you have answers that fall under departments that report to my office, that's where we bring them up. So if there's something that needs to be done sooner or different, we're open to that, but that's why that structure's there. It's not to slow anything down and it's to go through the right channel and let the right person with the right responsibility respond to that. So I just wanted to answer that. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a request. On the Veterans Memorial, you said there's going to be a public hearing. Can we make sure that we notify everyone who?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard it too. And so
Yeah.
not just
I have
post it
too.
on Facebook,
Yeah.
but a notification so that they feel they're included in the decision. That's all.
Yeah, and we'll let you help us announce
Thank you.
that. Help us with
Right,
that.
we can
Please.
announce it, we can send letters so that everyone feels included.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Is there any more unfinished business?
Through the chair, if you.
Yes,
if I
Ms.
may.
Webb.
I would just like to say this, and I'm not trying to rehash anything. So once I've spoken through the chair, I hope the clerk goes on with the next, what's on the next agenda. I just want to say this. We have spent months and months with North Point. We have gone over everything that we know that our neighbors, our residents, even businesses would like to have. If we do not put something over in that vacant acreage over there, it's going to be another 30 to 40 years. It's not fair that we're trying, as a part of the legislative body, we've sat down, we've had meetings, we've had discussions, and then for a resident to even say she wants to know why the CEO was apologizing, he was apologizing because he was not filling us. His staff did not understand what we were asking for. He apologized for not understanding what we as a city representing our residents wanted. And to me, it's great, and as long as it's something that is productive and we can have retail, not shopping malls or anything like that. But I just had to say that because in defense of myself as well as North Point, we have met and we have agreed, and they have agreed on everything and more, what we have asked for. And that's all I have to say about it, and I turn it back over to Ms. Clerk. Thank you.
Number 10 is new business. Number 11 for approval is warrant 21-17.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion, we pay warrant 21-17 in the following amounts. General Fund, $80,658.64. Major Street Fund, $102,755.89. Local Street Fund, $199.04. Public Safety Fund, $31,898.16. Cable TV, $728.76. Merriman Road Special Assessment, $17,327.93. Street Lighting Fund, 0. Oakwood SAD, 0. Community Employee Activity Fund, $1,465.72. Garbage and Rubbish Collection Fund, $5,210.96. Michigan Indigent Defense Fund, $24,447.33. 9/11 Service Fund, $691.56. Law Enforcement, $124.53. Narc Forfeiture State, $1,389.81. Library Fund, $18,967.40. DDA, $3,918.57. Tifa District 2, $989.12. Water and Sewer Fund, $143,545.33. Motor Vehicle, $36,717.20. Technology Services, $1,707.38. Retiree Insurance Benefits, $8,689.93. Property and Liability Insurance Fund, 0. Revolving Fund, $4,646.91. Current tax, $15,341.08. Delinquent Personal Property Fund, 0. Payroll Fund, $115,229.71. Totaling all funds, $616,650.96.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Abdo, supported by Ms. Talley, to pay warrant number 21-17 for $616,650.96. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, roll call vote. Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
No.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Number 12 is communication.
Ms. Williams?
Yes, I received this memorandum from the Mayor's Chief of Staff dated September the 13th. I asked at the last council meeting, did we have a contract with Rapid Response? So I get this response from the fire chief, in writing. I wanted to actually see a contract because I spoke with Rapid Refund this morning. And I was informed by them by one of the representatives, that the contract with the city of Romulus with Rapid Response expired June of 2021. So I need to see the actual contract that we have, since Kevin Kraus is saying that we have a contract with all these other surrounding communities. Instead of him putting it in words, I would like the actual contract. Because this is not helping me to say that we have service that the residents are paying for that we may not be able to receive. And to say that if you need them, you call them, they say they have no contract with the city of Romulus at all. It expired June of 2021, and I want to make sure that the taxpayers is getting what they're paying for. Now, to give it to me in writing is not acceptable. I need to see the actual signed contract, because they're saying that we don't have a contract with them. And then I looked it up and I did some research, and the shootings in 2009, and this is calendar year, 60 in 2009, 144 in 2020, 76 already in 2021. And I need the mayor office or whoever to get me the information of what happened on August the 4th at the Wyndham Garden Hotel when a young man was shot and couldn't get the proper service, meaning from this type of company. And that's bad business. I was contacted by the family. That's unacceptable, totally. And I'm not gonna go into any details because it's terrible, it's unthinkable that we live in a city and don't have the proper service. And the police chief, the fire chief can play with numbers. It is what it is. The young lady talking about the traffic in her community, every area that I have been in the city is complaining about no police present. People are speeding through. They're using neighborhood streets as a racetrack. Seriously, what is going on? Why no police present? Something needs to change, because that police and fire millage, and the city lied to them. I'm just gonna be honest, because there's no city, there's no village, there's no township that can't provide public safety and the state or the county don't come in. And that's the law. That's what happened in Highland Park. That's what happened in Inkster. So to mislead the people to get the millage and then get the millage and we have less service, we have to fix that. We really do. Because every community that I've been in, people are complaining about lack of police presence. Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes, Ms. Talley?
First of all, I just want to acknowledge that North Point is still here. You guys are still here. Thank you. In my lifetime, I don't know about my colleagues here, but to see petitioners still here at the end of the meeting is just very encouraged. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming. And also want to say thank you for going above and beyond in this project that you brought before us. Vacant land over there, and now you brought this project that's above and beyond. Above and beyond. And I just want to say thank you, and thank you for still being here at council at, what time is it? 9:40? Thank you. And then on another note, we have Unity Day, Pumpkin Fest this weekend, as Mary already talked about. Thank you, Mary. And come out and enjoy Unity Day, an extension of the Pumpkin Fest. We're adding back in. We hope everybody will come out and enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.
We heard there were donuts.
On that note of donuts, better yet, our Boy Scouts have their pancake breakfast on Saturday morning, and they're the best pancakes around. So you come on out and enjoy breakfast with us to start out Saturday Pumpkin Festival Day.
Any more communication?
So moved.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Abdo, supported by Mrs. Webb for adjournment. Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Webb?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Talley?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, we are adjourned. Thank you.